Are you the type of person to make decisions quickly, or do you get caught up in the smallest of details? And is there a better way to stay motivated? These are the tough questions in life that we're going to be answering today. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be opening up my heart to you and sharing the things that are deep down within myself and share my story with you and how I ended up to where I am today, being a person that's interested in business and entrepreneurship, and really the different factors that helped me settle on this ultimate decision of working for myself. So let's get into this. I think it's important that we ask ourselves the questions that sometimes are a little bit uncomfortable for us. And for me, that question was, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to be when you grow up? And we ask these questions to little kids all the time. What do you want to be? And they say all kinds of things. And when I was a little kid, the truth was I wanted to drive a train. I loved trains. I still love trains. And as time went on, I found a couple different things that I loved, different passions, interests of mine, and potential career options that could provide a pretty good life for myself. But the problem was that every single one of these things that I had considered, there was something about them that stopped me dead in my tracks and got me thinking twice. And that really sucked. I gotta tell you guys, I was so frustrated, especially when it came time for me to go to college and actually decide on something to study. I was so frustrated that I told myself that next time I see a chicken, I'm just gonna punt it like a football because it's the only thing that can relieve the stress that I'm facing. So a couple different jobs that I had considered, was architecture. And then I sat there and I thought, well, architecture is so cool, but I'm terrible at math. I always have. Is this a skill that can be learned? The answer is yes, it can be learned. But there was something else that I felt like I needed to do. Okay, I went on. I got braces in high school, and I thought about being an orthodontist because they make really good money, right? But they also go to six or more years of college, and then they come out with a lot of debt, right? That was something that I also did not want. I considered being maybe like a high school teacher, teaching health and wellness, and then going and coaching some kind of athletic team or something for a high school. But the problem is that teachers, they don't get paid very much. Mark my words, when I am the president of this country, the teachers are going to get paid more. Okay, I think it's ridiculous. Okay, so I thought to myself, is life meant to be stressful? And am I always going to be happy? Is it always meant to be this difficult? And it's frustrating. And I know that I'm not the only one that asks these type of questions. So when I started college in 2015, the major that I had declared, I wasn't totally set on it, but the one that I had chosen was recreation management. And the reason why is because I got my major pretty much off of everybody else's electives, like bowling, fishing, camping. These were the kinds of classes that you had to take to get this degree. And it was fun, guys. It was a blast, but there was still something inside of me that said, this is not right, even though you're loving it, okay? So I had to take some time off of school, and I felt like I needed to just become one with myself and figure out what I really needed to become. And this was difficult. So it was summer of 2016 that I actually moved down to Oklahoma and became a door-to-door salesman selling security systems to them Southerners. And it was a good experience. I learned a lot. It was really hot in Oklahoma, so I didn't love that so much. And being on the doors, knocking all day long, became a little bit frustrated. Now, door-to-door sales was commission-based, meaning if I didn't get any sales an entire week, then I basically put in 60 hours without getting any kind of compensation for that. Okay, so you can understand what the frustration was there. But on the really, really good weeks where I did get, a couple sales, I was bringing in some pretty good money. So I've always kind of considered summer sales to be the golden handcuff, because you make good money, but you're miserable the whole time doing it. But while I was out there, I learned some pretty valuable lessons, and specifically from people that I met just knocking doors. And they all kind of gave me different pointers as to what I should do with my life, and I ended up getting some pretty good insight from them. But I came home, and it was time to actually switch my major from recreation management, even though I loved it. And I felt like whatever I chose, it had to be something that was business oriented, because I had a strong connection with business people, and I liked the way that they lived. They were generally pretty happy, and they were making great money, right? And so I couldn't stop thinking about how I could actually change my future based off of my decisions. And that's why I think I connected so well with the concept of business and entrepreneurship, because you are your own boss. And then there was one person that I was listening to speak. I can't even remember where I was at, but they said something. They described a person that was called a multi-potentialist. Okay, multi-potentialist is not a real word, but they went on to describe multi-potentialist as someone who is just good at many things that they could never settle for just one. And I was like, cool, man, I'm this multi-potentialist. Okay, I could just be amazing at whatever I do. But I found shortly that that was not the case, okay? Because if you want to be good at something, you have to put in the work to do that. But you can't put in the work without first changing your mindset. So I started listening to motivational speakers and reading a lot of these self-help business books written by these millionaires who have just got their lives put together. And one of those authors that wrote one of these books, his name is Dean Graziosi. You've probably heard of him. His ads pop up on YouTube all the time. But he wrote a book called Millionaire Success Habits. And right in the first little bit of that book, he shares an experience where he was putting on a seminar, and he invited this really successful man named Joe Stump, who is a motivational speaker, to come and talk to Dean's crowd, basically. And he paid Dean about $10,000 for a half a day. That's a lot of money, but it also says what kind of quality of speaker this guy is, right? And so before the seminar began, they were just kind of exchanging ideas and passing back and forth different ideas. Joe Stump, he brought up this concept called 7 levels deep. Now, Dean didn't know what that was, so he said, well, if it works and if it's a good thing to teach people, why don't you just give it to me and I'll go out there and share it with my crowd. And Joe was like, no, I'm not going to do that, because I'm not going to give it to you until you go through it first. So he asked the question. He said, Dean, why did you invite me here today and pay me $10,000 for half a day of speaking? And Dean said, well, I want to get more students and I want to change people's lives. That's a pretty simple answer. It's a really worthwhile goal. And then Dean asked this question: why do you want to get more students and change people's lives? And he said, well, in this industry of real estate, that's what Dean does. He said, in this industry, there's a lot of good people and there's a lot of bad people. I want to rise above and create more good people and ultimately build a legacy for my family and for my kids. And then Joe asked him, well, why is it important to create a legacy for your kids? And at that point, that was question 3. Remember, we're going 7 levels deep. At question 3, Dean realized that he was no longer thinking with his head, but he was thinking with his heart. And he remembers kind of tearing up a little bit as he worked through these questions, like getting all the way to question number 7, because it was more meaningful to him. So ask yourself the reasons why you're doing what you are doing right now, and then take it a step deeper, and then go even deeper than that. And then once you're on question number 7, I can promise you that you have now found your true why for doing something. Okay? Ultimately, what it came down to for Dean is that he wanted to be in control of his life. And he thought back about as he was growing up, he moved 20 separate times, because between both of his parents, they were married 9 times. Okay? So he never really had a choice. He just kind of went with the flow, did what his parents were doing, and he wanted to be in control of his life. So the question was, why did you invite me here today, Dean, and pay me $10,000? And what it came down to was his true why. He wanted to be in control. So the lesson that I want you to learn today, and really think about this, is to find out what your true why is by going 7 levels deep, and learn to think with your heart instead of your brain. Because when we think with our brain, we just get so frustrated and we start thinking about all the reasons why nothing is working out and that the world is against us. But deep down inside, when we find our why, we are motivated no matter what, because we know what we want for ourselves. Guys, I know I was a little bit vulnerable with you today, okay? But it's important. I was frustrated, and I was for years, but I finally found my true reason for doing what I'm doing, and you can do the same. And when you think with your heart, you can't go wrong. Okay, thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.